Oh, tired. I'm already tired.
We haven't even started.
Live from a pile of sweaty. You know when I say pile, it's gonna be trouble. A pile of sweaty Satya Nadella tube socks.
Oh no.
It's an all-new, terrific Tuesday edition of Business Pants featuring analyst hole Matt Moscardi. On today's Glass Lewis branded Indica pre-roll with 39.26% THC.
Wow.
Called April 14th, 2026, the Who Do You Blame game. Yeah.
First of all, that last one seems libelous.
Does it really? It's legal where I live, probably where most people live who are listening.
Second of all,
completely legal.
Satya Nadella definitely buys new tube socks every time he wears some, right?
I don't know. He looks like he could be thrifty. It's hard to know. By the way, is that theme song called Kimchi? Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's called
like
Kimchi.
the fermented cabbage.
Yeah.
I'm trying to decide. Does that evoke fermented cabbage to me? Maybe.
It's like 37% fermented cabbage.
Yeah,
That's what it feels like.
I don't love kimchi. I appreciate
I love it.
But is that the feeling you get when you eat it?
Oh, I love it. It's
okay.
It's like bubbly.
But does
and
that theme
and
song
sour
does that evoke your pleasure when eating it?
All the pleasure.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Then I feel like I love the theme song again. Our show today is being sponsored by Free Flow Analytics and freeflowanalytics.com.
Yeah.
The only platform measuring board power, connection, and performance for free. Although to be fair, if you want the API and all the fun stuff that comes, you do have to, maybe you're an institutional investor. We can get you a lot more, and it might cost more than $1, right?
It costs definitely more than $1, and the more that you can get is like a lot more stuff. The free is starting.
If you're a student, if you're like a researcher, even if like you're an analyst, the MSCI, whatever, the free stuff is plenty. It's enough. It's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's also like probably a drop in the bucket of
what
data
there is behind
there is now. Like it's just so much now. It's ridiculous.
When is MSCI going to call and ask for some of this to incorporate into their product? Is what I'm really wondering.
I mean, tomorrow, probably.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You ready for the blame game? I have heard anecdotally that this is the only show that people like.
And I like that we do it like once every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So
it's a heavier lift.
It is a heavy lift. It's a lot. I've got 2. How many do you have?
I have way too many. I have 5.
Oh,
and one is designed to talk about one of our new fans, SEC Chair Paul Atkins. So, Paul, I know you're listening. I hope you like this segment.
Show.
There's a segment about ULIT coming up.
He loves this show.
How do you want to do this? Want me to, I should probably go first, obviously.
You should go first and second.
I'll do a couple.
And then I'll go third.
I'll do a couple. And again, I say this every time. First of all, no betting. I know like we live in an age of all these horrendous apps.
Yeah, everything's a bet.
Yeah. Everything's a bet. But you're not allowed to bet on the shows that we do. You cannot bet. No betting. I'm sorry. And second of all, these are always presented in no particular order. Just because I start with the story does not mean it's the most important story. That's subjective. It's up to you. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. That's a lot of disclaimers.
Booking.com warns customers of hack that expose their data.
Oh.
Yeah, so this happens a lot and it's becoming more and more of an issue. In fact, Anthropic is holding back its latest release of its AI model because it is potentially so destructive with things like hacking that it was worried that it would get in the wrong hands. So this is a message to shareholders and boards of directors and CEOs. Get your act together now. I mean, I've been warning about this for 5 years, but get it together. But do it now.
Get it together 10 years ago when you mentioned it. Yeah.
So who do you blame? Booking.com. First of all, do you blame CEO? This is a relatively easy who do you blame to get going, because I got some complicated ones coming that you're not going to like.
Oh, good.
CEO Glenn Fogel, he's been there since 2017. There have been several hacks at Booking. They've gotten into a lot of trouble. They've a lot of cybersecurity issues. This dude, despite the fact that they refer to him as having this the technology skill in the board matrix, he actually has no background in tech, nothing other than working here. So,
Wait,
potential target, CEO Glenn Fogel.
Did he go to either Harvard or Stanford?
It's
almost a guarantee, right?
How does that answer
one or the other?
Well, this was originally a Dutch company,
and he was an
right?
iBanker or a finance guy, or he came out with a, he went to entrepreneurship class and then got the job as CEO. That's the pathway to running a retail tech company with no tech experience, is to have gone to a marquee business program and had a background in finance and worked at Citigroup for 6 years, doing mergers and acquisitions, right?
You're not quite right, but he did go to Harvard Law School.
Oh, law. Oh.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I feel less good about that.
I mean, I will say this. He graduated in 1988. You think they were talking about cybersecurity risk in 1988?
Oh, yeah, they were definitely. I mean, hadn't the movie with the War Games with Matthew
right.
Broderick?
Yes,
that was
true.
out by then. So
That's
yeah.
true. And to your point, yeah, he was an investment banker. He was a vice president at Morgan Stanley. So yeah, you're kind of right. Anyway, that's the first one. What about, let's get more serious. Cybersecurity. They actually have a cybersecurity subcommittee because they've gotten into so much trouble.
Many times.
Cybersecurity Subcommittee, that's what it's called. Chair Larry Quinlan. Now, he was the global chief information officer at Deloitte, but only up until 2021. And I'm thinking, Deloitte, in 2021, wasn't that basically just COVID-y stuff? What are we doing?
Chief information officer at a place that talks for a living. What is that?
It's close to something, though.
But do you manage just their email server? Is that what you do?
And because I'm laying on the sarcasm pretty thick on this episode, surprise, surprise, I will say he's a DEI hire. He's a black man.
Oh, no. Oh, so then it's definitely his fault.
Cybersecurity Subcommittee member Nicholas Reed, he's been on the board for 8 years. They don't even list technology as one of his qualifications. He's not even
in the skills matrix.
Yeah, I don't even know why he's on this committee.
So they admit that he has no technology skills.
Doesn't know what he's doing. And then finally, Cybersecurity Subcommittee member Vanessa Wittman. This is all three members of that committee. She was most recently CFO at an online beauty company, a beauty product company called Glossier. And get this, they say she has technology experience. But she is a director at AIG. They have a technology committee at AIG. She doesn't serve on that technology committee.
Well, of course she doesn't. That's because
what? I mean, if she's an expert,
the skills matrix. So we did a process where we looked at over 50 skills matrices of large cap companies with directors in common across industries, all this stuff. And we found that the skills that they list are relative. They're not absolute. It's not like, it would be like,
so she's smart at booking and a dope at AIG. That's what you're saying?
No, it would be like if I made a shelf in shop class in high school, but no one else on this board had, I would get the carpentry, skill. But if I was on Bob Vila's board, I would definitely not get it because everyone there knows what they're doing. That's how they do the skills matrix. So that's why Free Float has knowledge, because knowledge is at least you got educated in that. That was your role at these companies in your bios. It was real things that you did. This is not surprising at all.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Where do you land?
Surprised.
I gave you all three cybersecurity committee members, and I gave you the CEO.
I'm gonna. This is hard.
It's hard because it's kind of a serious one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't knock the subcommittee member, Nicholas Reed, where technology is not listed as a qualification. That does seem like a problem of the committee chair picking someone for the subcommittee with no technology background, maybe. But it's really between the committee chair and the CEO. I'm going to go with the committee chair because he's a DEI hire. That's what I'm going to go with.
That's the reason?
That's the climate we're in.
Yeah,
it's got to be that guy's fault.
He has been there for 4 years, long enough to know better.
I mean, he's probably the one expert. He's one CIO, right, on the board. So if you're the one CIO on the board and you keep having hacks and data breaches, that seems to be the only guy in the room with that knowledge that in their purview. So I'm going to blame him.
All right. Moving on. Woke coffee chain. The headline. Forget about the headline, but I'm going to read it anyway. But the headline is full of nonsense. Woke coffee chain. I don't know what makes it woke, though. Slammed by liberal California customers for removing pride flags from cafes, saying this is bound to backfire. So, okay, here's the point. There's a coffee chain in California called Philz, Philz.
Okay. Is this a publicly traded company? Is this like a guy named Phil?
It's not a publicly traded company, but it's important because they all the information is there. The board, I got all the information.
They have a board at Phil's.
Well, they have a private equity owner who has a board. Well, let's just get to it here.
Okay, let's do it. This is complicated.
It is a little complicated. So again, this was founded in centers in San Francisco. I mean, it was created in the Mission. I mean, this is a San Francisco coffee company. All right, so do you blame Philz CEO Mahesh Sadarangani, who said, our longstanding support of the LGBTQIA plus community is unchanged. We are working toward creating a more consistent, inclusive experience across all our stores, including removing a variety of flags and other decor. This is a change in how our stores look, not in who we are. So that's a great answer, no? We're just getting rid of flags, people.
It's just flags, man.
All the flags, right?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, when you walk in a coffee shop, my only real problem, because the coffee's delicious, it's just there's so many flags. It's just like they're hitting you in the face. Everywhere you look, they're flags. It's incredible. But that's a great excuse, no?
I like that.
You could blame him. How about, and let me add this. They also list their favorite drink orders, just like Starbucks, and his is called Ether Straight Up. Now, I'm thinking the straight, he said straight, so he's probably anti-gay, right?
that probably, yeah, maybe.
And then I'll add, he came from Wingstop. What doesn't Wingstop? I mean, Wingstop sells the arms, the wings of birds. I mean, doesn't that seem homophobic to you? Just ripping wings off of birds.
It's not so much that it's homophobic or not, but the head of Philz Coffee, who's got a coffee named Ether Straight Up as an option on a menu somewhere, came from Wingstop.
Yes.
Really, which it's like caters to NHL fans who want wings while they watch hockey. What is that?
Now, customers are pointing out that last year the company was bought by private equity firm Freeman Spogli and Company, and they're kind of potentially pointing their finger at them. So I looked at Freeman Spogli and Company. First of all, it was founded by 3 men. They have a team of 31. Only 5 are women. They also have 6 industry executives. And there's 0 women there. So that's 37. With 5 women. They have 10 partners. 1's a woman. I mean, you can see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
They actually had a filing in 2025. It lists 10 executive officers. There are no women. And even, this is like, they even have the old-fashioned greenwashy webpage. Like, when you open their webpage, the front page is like littered with women.
There's
like
women,
smiling women everywhere. So that you could blame them, right? Private equity firm Freeman Spogli. What about the founders of Philz Coffee, Phil Jaber and his son Jacob?
Oh, are they not on the board or running this thing?
I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm trying to put a show together. And then finally, what about just blaming the whole San Francisco Bay Area? I mean, aren't they notoriously homophobic, that San Francisco Bay Area?
Especially in the Mission. Yeah. That's or the Castro. They're probably in the Castro, aren't they?
So where do you land here?
Well, look, I don't know.
This is a bit of a throwaway. Yeah.
This one's a bit hard to
This is maybe my way. This is maybe my way of sneaking in the data on private equity and how ridiculously bro-centric it is.
Here's what's amazing. On Philz Coffee news page, is zero news about flag removal. right?
Yeah.
Like they didn't put out a press release that said we're sprucing up our stores. This includes
making it more inclusive.
Yeah, making it more inclusive by removing some flags, right?
Yeah,
like
they want
to say that.
They want the San Francisco MAGA people to come in.
So let me ask you something. If that was true, if you took that literally, that they thought this was a good idea to be more inclusive and remove some flags, don't you think they would put that out as a press release on how they're sprucing up their stores, right?
Sure.
But they don't think that's true, clearly. What they think is that we're removing flags because we're afraid that a conservative somewhere is going to, snowflake their way into a lawsuit against us.
Or they just don't believe in it. I mean, the private equity firm they're just not into it.
This is, I think none of these. Philz actually has a lot of, they're in San Diego.
It's mostly California, a little bit of Chicago.
But there's some Chicago.
Mostly San Francisco.
Mostly San Francisco, San Diego.
Mostly gay-loving places, let's be honest.
So the only one it could be is Freeman and Sparkly. Yeah. That's it. That's the only one.
This is what happens when you put a bunch of smelly men in a room together. They make weird decisions.
When you drop $135 million on something and you don't want them to get sued because now you're the owner, that's the only one I can blame.
All right.
I'm going to do one.
Okay, because I was going to say, we both have one on Microsoft, and my Microsoft is coming up. So you want to do yours first?
I'll do my Microsoft first.
Go.
All right. Here's the headline. Microsoft pauses carbon removal purchases.
Why? Do we know why?
So they didn't say. I said it was like evolving and whatever.
They have no money.
But what's fascinating about it is 2 weeks ago on this show, I made fun of Microsoft for greenwashing.
Yeah.
Microsoft in 2020 set a 2030 carbon negative target. As in 10 years, Microsoft had committed to not just emit zero carbon effectively, either by buying credits or to offset or just renewables or whatever. They actually said they were going to remove all the carbon since their inception, going all the way back to the 1970 something. They were going to remove all the carbon that they ever emitted.
Does that mean getting rid of Bill Gates and getting rid of what? Who else? Trump administration?
I guess being in the Epstein files is carbon heavy, carbon intense.
Well, there's a lot of flying, a lot of private jets to Epstein Island. No joke. Really, no joke.
That's legit. Yeah. But now 2 weeks ago, I made fun of them for greenwashing, and today it broke that they are pausing carbon removal purchases, including the one ostensibly by the one they made at Mumbach, which is the company that I made fun of, that they bought tens of millions of dollars of carbon credits from a company that's never planted a tree and has no history of having done it before in the Amazon, much less.
Yeah, but it's good for a press release.
So who do you blame?
Okay, all right.
Do you blame Satya Nadella, CEO and chair?
Tube sock wearing
Satya, 27% influence.
He's been there for a while at this point, hasn't he?
This was his target. Yeah. In fact, in the announcement is a picture of him and Brad Smith and one other person who I can't remember, announcing carbon negative by 2030. And 1 year later, in 2021, he wrote on LinkedIn, as a company, we've set ambitious climate goals to be carbon negative, zero waste, and water positive by 2030, and we're making progress as we work towards a more sustainable future. That's on his LinkedIn profile in 2021.
Yeah, but it was okay to say that then. It was cool to say that then.
Well, last year, Microsoft's chief sustainability officer, Melanie Nakagawa, said, quote, in 2020, Microsoft leaders, Satya Nadella, that's the leaders, Satya Nadella. Microsoft leaders referred to our sustainability goals as a moonshot. And nearly 5 years later, we have had to acknowledge that the moon has gotten further away.
Oh, well, that's not the right science and math.
Let me ask you something. If any executive set a target and then they didn't hit that target, they failed to hit that target, either the target was ill-conceived, they never meant to hit that target, or they failed. They actually were not good. They could not manage to hit that target. They failed.
I'll tell you this. I don't think the pay committee cares because his pay in 2023 was 48 million, then it went up to 79 million, and then last year was 97 million. So
yeah, correct. They're not exactly.
They don't care about targets.
In this target. Not this one. Like if I set a target for free float to do $1 billion in sales by 2030.
Ooh, I like this.
That's good. And then I invested all of our money into crypto, lost it all, and we got $45 in parking tickets, and that's all we got by 2030. Do I blame the changing market environment? Do I just say like, oh, well, it wasn't a real target anyway. We were skipping the target. Like that's what Satya Nadella is doing currently. All right. So option number 1, Satya Nadella. Option number 2, Penny Pritzker.
Oh,
Pritzker, JB Pritzker's
Nepo baby, yeah.
Sister, cousin, friend, uncle. I don't remember. I don't know what but she is a Nepo baby. She is on the board. She is actually the chair of the environmental yada committee, like whatever the environmental committee thing is, because they all name it something different. She bats, according to free float data, 269 on carbon intensity overall. That's almost the bottom quartile of all peer directors. And at Microsoft, she's been worse. Just on the Microsoft board. It's horrific. 500 is the average director. Like, so the head of the environmental yada committee at Microsoft is in the bottom quartile of carbon performance.
Yeah, but to be fair, she only has 1% influence on that board. So maybe she's trying.
Correct. So there we go. So we could maybe rule her out.
And Satya, according to the data I have here, is up to 33%.
No, your data is old. My data is new.
What's the new? What's Satya have now?
27.
Okay.
It's roughly the same.
You said that, yeah.
Reid Hoffman.
Ooh.
Can we blame Reid Hoffman? Also on the board of Microsoft, AI evangelist, founder of LinkedIn, heavy investor in AI. In fact, Reid Hoffman said, just like last week, that AI is going to be blamed for, quote, just about everything. He's one of these guys who's saying AI, who do we cover that said the same thing, that AI was going to be blamed for everything? Mark Andreessen just said it, right? AI would be blamed for everything. It's something like we can blame every layoff on, even though every company was overstaffed. Well, Reid Hoffman's on that boat.
It's Trump's Biden.
That's what tech bros are now saying about AI. Except AI is on pace to use as much as 20% of all energy in the U.S. this year.
Already? We're already there.
Up from 4% in 2024 for data centers. In fact, AI in 2026 could equal all of New York City's carbon.
Yeah, but
all of New York City.
Small New York City.
So it's also worth noting that Reid Hoffman, a member of the environmental yada committee.
Yeah, it seems like a cool place to hang out.
So what is a guy who like is happy to spew, all of New York City's carbon and use 20% of the energy in the country doing on the environmental committee? What is he doing?
It's too bad there wasn't like a mechanism in place for shareholders to be like, you're on these committees. I don't know that you're really coming through. Like you're not really doing what you say you're going to be doing.
Yeah,
so we're going to vote you out.
Well, here's another committee member.
All right, go ahead.
Catherine McGregor.
Yeah. French.
Now, Catherine McGregor only has 4% influence. She's only been on Microsoft for 2 years. She did not set this target. She was not on the board that set this target. She is a newbie. She's young and new. But she is one of the top performers. She's the second top performer on the board for carbon, 632. She's the CEO of Energy, the French energy company that's like heavy into carbon transition, renewables, battery storage, EVs. In fact,
Engie.
And I think it's Energy. And is it Engie?
I think it's Engie. No one's listening at this point.
All I know is that the company that she is the CEO of has seen an energy company that she's the CEO of has seen their scope 1, 2, and 3 carbon drop from 265, I think it's million tons in 2017 to 145 in 2025.
Ooh.
That she has overseen massive drops in carbon.
Yeah, but that's in France. They do.
Okay.
They get stuff done there, I guess.
Microsoft in the same time period has seen their carbon in 2020 go from 100, scope 1, this is just the carbon that Microsoft uses by itself, 118,000 tons to 143,000 tons. And their scope 2 has gone from 4.3 million to 9.9 million.
Yeah,
Microsoft is spewing more than they ever have in their history.
But you're forgetting about all the money they're making, so you're seeing this wrong.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe we can blame Catherine McGregor for not coming out stronger and saying,
well, that seems,
I've done this before. Could you all shut up and listen to what we need to do? Because I know how to do this.
Well, I hope her influence has risen, because the last data I'm looking at, it's still at a 0%.
Yeah, well, that's when she was just joined. That's when she just joined.
So it's gone up a little bit.
It's gone up a little bit, yeah. Because she was put on the yada yada committee.
Who else?
Well, finally, the 2020 Microsoft board. The board of Microsoft at the time that Satya Nadella put out their carbon targets.
Okay.
This is the reason why they need to buy carbon removal in the first place, is because of the targets that they set, and they have paused it. The board at the time is Reid Hoffman, Hugh Johnston, Terry Listowel, Satya Nadella, Sandra Peterson, Penny Pritzker, Charles Sharp, Arnie Sorensen, John Stanton, John Thompson, Emma Walmsley, and Padmasree Warrior.
Oh, yeah, I remember, yeah.
Now, I went really quickly through those. What I don't need to go quickly through is to say that all of them are still on the board except for 3. The 3 who are not on the board, one died of pancreatic cancer, Arnie Sorensen. Ooh. John Thompson retired from everything. Yeah. He retired off. He's now no more boards. And Padmasree Warrior is the only one who's still on boards who you could get angry at somewhere else, except she's on the boards of an Indian company, Mahindra and Mahindra, and
that
Spotify, where you have no voting rights.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
So, like, basically, you can't even hold, if you want to hold anyone accountable, the 2020 board accountable, just vote out this board right now, because it's the same board.
All right, so you're telling me I could either target the CEO, I could target the members of the environmental yada yada committee, or I can just go for the 2020 board, which is essentially the 2020
entire board. The entire board. Yeah.
I like that last option.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
Oh, that was easy. We don't usually. It's usually more of a struggle, but okay.
I would have also bought Reid Hoffman. I think that guy has an outsized influence on this board.
Let me give you a chance.
We can't in the data see.
Because let's annoyingly stick with Microsoft for a bit. Okay, so I might give you the chance to throw some blame at Reid Hoffman. And my version of the Microsoft game is maybe a bit more ridiculous. Shock. What a shock, I know. I feel like the Satya Nadella, the Microsoft, the strength is starting to flail a little bit with recent headlines. Anthropic's Claude for Word is another challenge for Microsoft's software empire. Now, remember, they're saying that AI could potentially decimate the software industry. Chevron
Claude for Word? What's that?
I don't know. Chevron and Microsoft team up for giant Texas gas power plant. So that's something you talked about a few weeks back. That's
what triggered me. Yeah.
And then OpenAI rips Anthropic, distance itself from Microsoft. So OpenAI is throwing a lot of its business to Jeff Bezos over at Amazon, and they're kind of screwing Microsoft.
Which is my last. It was my last one. So we'll talk about that part next. Then, but
we're looking at Microsoft. Things don't seem to be going well. So who do you blame? I'll go quickly because you did a good job setting up most of these people. So I'm just going to kind of give you little one-word answers here. Satya Nadella, I mean, he's the leader.
Yes, CEO, the guy. Yeah.
Reid Hoffman, he's the Epstein Island guy.
Yeah, he was listed. Yeah.
Let's not forget that he went to Epstein Island after everyone knew that this guy was arrested.
Is there evidence he actually went to the island?
Yes, went to the island. He already apologized. He's like, he said that he was very manipulative, and Reid he got caught in the vortex. I don't know. He couldn't get out of his laser beams or something. I don't know.
I didn't think Epstein had laser beams. Yikes.
How about Charles Sharp? This is the guy in 2020 who said that the unfortunate reality is that there's a very limited pool of black talent to recruit from. He said that.
Yeah, he said that
6 years ago. That's a quote.
As the CEO of Wells Fargo, yes.
Yeah, he was taking a different route from other CEOs at the time. He wasn't bending a knee like Jamie Morgan at one of his banks pretending that he gave a crap. He was saying, actually, black people are pretty stupid, and I don't know we can't find anyone to hire.
He didn't say they were stupid. He just said there's not many of them that are smart. There's not many of them. Right?
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, that's what he meant.
What about Charles Scharf again? It turns out in 2025, they settled a lawsuit for almost $100 million after it was revealed that Wells Fargo was conducting fake interviews with minority and female candidates just so they could tell people that they were looking.
Well, isn't that there was just a limited pool of them, so they just pointed to a black guy and said, "Come interview."
Can you imagine this guy's still on the Microsoft board? Anyway, okay,
unbelievable.
So you could blame Charles Scharf twice, or how about you could blame Charles Scharf and Reid Hoffman as a duo?
Oh,
because they
like a tag team.
They both attacked Lena Khan, who was the chair of the FTC when she was looking into Microsoft. Charles Scharf called her a trauma to the economy, and Hoffman said that she was waging war in American business. So these two blowhards.
Wow. Can you imagine the bro hug that went on between the two of them when they penned that?
I mean, to your point that Reid Hoffman must be powerful, because I don't know. I don't really know. Anyway, let's move on. How about Hugh Johnston, director? This guy, CFO Disney and Pepsi. I mean, does it get any more pointless than
What's
Disney
he doing
and
on
Pepsi?
the Microsoft board?
And is there anything more pointless in the world than Disney and Pepsi? It's just like drugs nobody needs. It's just a bunch of nonsense. It's just sugar. It's just sugar. Terry List. You mentioned Terry List. This woman's the boring company queen. All she does is she's on boards of The Gap, Dick's, Kraft, Procter & Gamble, Visa, Danaher. I mean, she's just there. She's just a company. She's a company guy. She's a company gal.
She is one of the most connected directors in our database as a result of those boring boards where she has no influence and gets paid.
Catherine McGregor, you mentioned. I say we could blame her just because she's a woman and she's French. It just seems like an obvious combination. How about lead independent director Sandra Peterson? I think you mentioned. But she's been in Microsoft for 11 years, so she's a fake lead independent director.
The lead independent director thing, you have your triggers of like, there's a little
you hate
governance
that.
triggers. This blows my fucking mind every time I hear it. How on earth are investors not able to? The investors can do like complicated, algorithms to figure out what the price of a stock is going to be 10 years from now that they're trying to do constantly, and they can't figure out how many years a lead independent director has been there.
Yeah, because but attendance they can figure out.
Attendance they can figure out because ISS and Glass Lewis gives them a little flag that they wave over someone's head.
A little pride flag that came from Philz Coffee. Yeah, it was part of the
That's where all the flags
giveaway.
That's where they all went. But like 11 years and your lead independent director, you're not independent.
Penny Pritzker, you mentioned. She's a Nepo baby. Dame Emma Walmsley, you mentioned. And I say you could blame her just because she's a woman. She's a dame. She's not even American. She's a degree in classics. I mean, what are we doing?
She's the CEO of GSK, a pharma company, right?
Yeah.
A classics degree?
I don't know. And finally, Mark Mason. I just put him on it because he's black, so you could take the anti-DEI route there. So I gave you a lot of names. I gave you a lot to think about. Just throw a dart. Who do you blame for Microsoft getting all like weird?
So I think
losing its luster.
I think there's a real. So what's interesting about the when you look at these companies is there is a power dynamic between the people, right? This is not.
Sure.
I'm not breaking new ground by saying anything like this. But at Microsoft, the latest data that we have has Satya Nadella at 27% influence.
Yeah.
But when I look at the next two directors by influence,
Charles Scharf, right?
It's Charles Scharf over Sandra Peterson, who's the lead independent director, right? So Charles Scharf actually has more influence according to free float metrics.
But it's basically the same.
It's roughly the same.
Yeah, same, yeah.
But that suggests to me that it's not wrong that Charles Scharf and Reid Hoffman might actually be a legitimate sort of power duo on that board. Like when Satya got nominated as CEO, that was one of the early cases of the Southeast Asian male CEO replacement theory, where you go from a bombastic, founder-led, loud, over-the-top personality. Like founder was Bill Gates, and then it was Ballmer, right? Was the CEO of,
Steve
and
Ballmer.
He's loud and bombastic. And
he's
was
loud, all right.
A co-founder of Microsoft too. And then they go with the quiet Satya Nadella.
I will say who came onto the board the same year as Charles Scharf, 2014.
And Charles Scharf has gotten away with, I don't know how that guy's still a director. He's gotten away with so much shit. He's overseen some of the worst behavior at Wells Fargo.
I only mentioned 2 horrible things, just a couple of the racist things,
It's
but they've done so many bad things. Yeah.
How on earth does he still have a fucking job?
Nobody knows.
The shit he's done. So between Scharf and Reid Hoffman, I actually think the duo. I'm going to blame the duo. I'm going to blame the duo, like the Batman and Robin of shitty behavior on this board. Yeah,
I think you're right. I think that there's just like there's a stink to those two. Right? There's just
every time Reid Hoffman opens his mouth, I know he's like a major Democratic donor and like liberals are supposed to like him, but every time he opens his mouth, I wish he would shut it.
Is Reid Hoffman the guy who recently? No, that was the Salesforce guy. Who was the guy who was like talking about bringing in troops to San Francisco? Was that the Salesforce guy?
No, that was a Salesforce. That was Benioff.
I will say this: the AI
different blowhard.
I'm sure you've noticed in the last year or so, LinkedIn has turned into like a slop factory. I get so many notifications about things that I don't care about that are all kind of just stupid. And they're getting into like political weird stuff that you'd see on Facebook. And then I also noticed they have a video feature now where it's just the same endless scroll of nonsense video. Like it's just becoming slop over there on LinkedIn.
I only check it when I post on LinkedIn. I just check to make sure I didn't
nobody's
miss somebody
seen it
replying,
anyway,
but nobody sees it anyway.
Well, you're not bowing down to the algorithm, so no one's seeing. All right, so that's I have 2 more. Do you want me to do one more before you go next?
Why don't you do one more and then I'll do my last one?
Okay, let's get to the Trump one. SEC. God, I should say SEC. Sorry. Yeah, we do because we need to educate our listeners because they're pretty dopey. Trump's SEC is going after fewer Wall Street crimes. I mean, I don't really need to. I have some information here. I don't need to tell you much background. The point is that SEC Chair Paul Atkins is basically he's not going after people anymore. 784 enforcements and 2 years ago down to 456 this year. So it's just going away. All right. So who do you blame? I will say this though. He did say that he promised. Paul Atkins told Congress in February that he disputed the report suggesting his agency was prosecuting fewer crimes and assured lawmakers that SEC enforcement work had not seen a steep decline. And then 2 months later, the data comes out and he's a liar.
Oh, I'm shocked. What? Yeah. He's a liar?
He's a liar. All right, so who do you blame? Do you blame Trump? Seems like an obvious choice, right? Trump told Paul Atkins to do, and then Paul Atkins did it. But let's move on. And I don't want to talk much about Trump. What about Paul Atkins? Now, let's not forget, Paul Atkins used to be on the SEC. He was a commissioner under George W. Bush. And in fact, he was a staunch opponent of increased oversight for investment banks and is one of the figures frequently blamed for ignoring the systemic risk that eventually led to the subprime mortgage collapse. I mean, he was around screwing up back in the day. I mean, this is not his first dance.
Good for him, getting in another tango.
He's the wealthiest, from all the reports, he's the wealthiest commissioner chair in history.
Ever.
Yeah. There's really a lot I could go on about, but I'll just add this other tidbit about Paul Atkins. In 2006, he argued that granting executives stock options right before good news was released shouldn't be considered insider trading. He said, quote, "It is cheaper to pay a person with well-timed options than with cash." So he was suggesting that this is the SEC commissioner. We're suggesting that you could basically do insider trading because
should jury rig your
saves
trade.
the company. You should. I mean, what a joke. Paul Atkins. Do you blame him? What about Elon Musk? Let's not forget. Doge stepped in beginning of the year, got rid of a lot of SEC workers, fired a bunch first. Then he bought out a lot, so they don't go on the board as being fired, but he bought out a lot. And And then he also replaced, he put some of his own Doge people into key administrative roles in the SEC to oversee some of this nonsense. So, could you blame Elon? I mean, can you believe, like, Elon Musk is skated completely free of all of this somehow? I don't.
Did he? Does anybody buy a Tesla anymore?
But how has he not shown up to a congressional hearing on some of this stuff? I mean, what was he up? I mean,
because he paid for Congress.
I just read this morning that there's a report that the reason why they slashed all the money to USAID was because someone thought all they did was abortion stuff. They said abortion stuff. They didn't realize that they did other stuff. I mean, this guy Elon is such a moron that he didn't even look into stuff. He just kind of did emotional.
They didn't. They don't read. Like that's not the.
So far we have Trump, we have Atkins, we have Musk, and then finally, do we just blame Biden? Because without Biden, this number wouldn't have fallen so much. Because under Biden's last year, the enforcements were up, and this makes it look bad because they've fallen so right. Like, yeah.
So really, it's not a function of their worse. It's that Biden just overdid it. And it makes everyone look worse.
Yeah. Oh. So where do you land on this? The SEC is basically just stopping, giving up.
That last one is very compelling to me, to blame Biden. Because isn't that who everyone blames anyway in this government? It was all Biden's fault. Everything was Biden. I mean, we only were at 2% inflation and peace, and the stock market was at its highest ever, and we weren't in a war.
Yeah, but he was old. Matt, he was old.
And all of that stuff
but he
when
was
Biden
old.
left. And this country hated it so much.
Yeah, we hate old people here.
We not just old people. We hated having good things so much.
Yeah, it was boring.
We literally blew everything up.
We like Disney and Pepsi, so
I'm blaming Biden. It's Biden's fault. I'm blaming Biden. It's whose fault it is.
All right, you're next. Come on, let's get this show over.
Move quickly.
Luckily, my last one is relatively quick. What do you got?
My last one is relatively quick too. You mentioned this actually as a headline on one of yours. About OpenAI and Amazon getting married. Yeah. That this headline,
Shock.
OpenAI touts Amazon alliance in memo, says Microsoft has limited our ability to reach clients. So Amazon now is ready to unleash Sam Altman, even after even after one of the most scathing, harrowing profiles of a person I've ever read was released by the New Yorker about how he's a sociopath bent on narcissistic control of the AI doomsday button.
Yeah.
Who do you blame now at Amazon?
Go ahead. Amazon? I like this.
Because OpenAI has all the incentive in the world to find any massive mega billionaire.
We don't talk about Amazon enough. In fact, I think in one of our upcoming proxy countdowns, we're going to look at the Amazon annual meeting.
I think we have to, because this is like Amazon is now becoming another evil empire that they always were, but even more so.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Who do you blame at Amazon? Do you blame Uncle Hefe? Jeff Bezos.
Seems like the obvious one.
Executive chair. Now, people forget, people think he's not the CEO anymore, so he's gone. He's the executive chair. He still owns 7% of the stock.
They still give him $2 million a year on security costs.
He has 67% of the influence on this board.
Right,
He's used his money to destroy the Washington Post, to buy a mega yacht and throw a mega wedding. His wife was just profiled in the New York Times as basically saying that the uber wealthy need to stop being so ashamed of their wealth and start flaunting it. Be happy and flaunt your wealth.
Yeah. Like they haven't been? But go ahead.
Okay, so you've got Uncle Hefe.
Okay.
CEO Andy Jassy, who has laid off 14,000 people in October, another 16,000 in January, all for AI. But I don't know. I can't seriously think he's actually running this company. Do we seriously think Andy Jassy's running anything? I can't
tell. He's
probably
like the COO, I'm guessing. He's probably, he's day-to-day operational, but I'm sure he's not pulling the trigger.
He's not the guy making the big decision, right?
No,
he's the guy that Jeff says, make sure that truck gets to my house.
Yeah, he's probably very good at all that.
Do we blame board member Andrew Ng? I don't know how do you say Ng? N-G, Ng?
Yeah.
Andrew Ng, who in his bio, just on the Amazon bio, says AI Fund LP managing partner, Deep Learning.ai LLC founder, Landing AI founder, chairman and co-founder of Coursera, managing partner of AI Aspire. Oh. If he wrote AI any more times in his bio, it would seem like ChatGPT made him up as an AI human.
Which is possible.
But he also partnered with OpenAI for courses at his shitty AI learning companies.
Of course.
And he apparently was Sam Altman's professor at Stanford.
Oh, for the one day that Sam Altman went there?
Yeah. Could you be any more tied?
No. I mean, that makes perfect sense.
And he's supposed to be like the AI guru. He's on the board of Amazon. He's the AI guru. And he's Sam Altman's,
and he's the Sam conduit,
professor.
I'm sure. Yeah, and I'm sure that relationship is important.
Do we blame board member Patricia Stonecipher?
Just because of the name, Patricia Stonecipher?
Well, first of all, it's a woman.
Yeah.
Second of all, this is what she had in her bio. Ms. Stonecipher has served as a trustee of the Rockefeller Foundation, a private foundation dedicated to promoting the well-being of humanity throughout the world.
Look, this is one of my favorite things is finding the foundations that some of these people sit on, because they're always about just doing the best things, right?
I was like,
we're going to feed the homeless. We're going to do everything except we don't, and we won't, and we have the ability, but we don't. We pretended to know how, and now.
How can you sit on the board, be a trustee of the Rockefeller Foundation, whose mission is promoting the well-being of humanity, while you sit on the Amazon board and literally promote the downfall of humanity?
Because everyone sitting around you has a similar background. That's why. That's how.
Could we blame her?
We could.
Or finally, could we blame a trio or a quadro of board members?
Quartet, yes.
Jonathan Rubinstein, Keith Alexander.
My favorite quadro was the Beatles.
The Jonathan Rubinstein, Keith Alexander, Wendell Weeks, and Jamie Gorlick.
Okay, why them?
Free Float Data says they are the only ones on the board with knowledge in public safety.
Oh, interesting.
That's core knowledge. And in fact, almost all of them serve on the public safety committee of this board, but they have a combined influence of 10%. So,
okay, but because Uncle Hefe's stealing it all.
He's got it all. Yeah. Who do you blame?
You always have to blame Hefe, but you know what?
Boring.
I got convinced that the person to get rid of. You're not going to be able to vote him out. It's just not going to happen. It's like trying to get rid of Musk. As much as I dream about it, it's never going to happen. So I should just shut up about it. Yeah. So who I want to get out is the conduit to Sam Altman, because we all remember look. I actually graduated from college. I mean, I'm not trying to show off, but I actually
waving in my face.
Yeah, I stayed. I turned in all my paper. I got it all done. But those relationships you have with professors at that age are very important. And if in my chosen field, one of my professors was at a company that I was doing business with, that would be a very special relationship. I mean, I'm sure that would last forever, it just wouldn't go away. And you're telling me that not only is he the Stanford dude and he's the AI guy, he's partnering with OpenAI, but he taught Sam Altman. I mean, yeah, he's the guy. I blame him. I blame him.
I'm going to I like that. I like that pick. That's a solid pick. Let's finish this game. It's taking forever.
It's taking forever. And now let's end on stupid. Not like the rest of it hasn't been stupid.
Yeah, it's been informative
extra
up until
stupid.
now.
I'll apologize beforehand for this one, but this is the stuff that's important to the world. Hudson Technologies announced its election of Alan Sheriff and Jeffrey Feeler.
It's just the name.
As independent directors. Who do you blame? Sheriff and Feeler. Yeah, you know where I'm going with this. Sheriff and Feeler. Okay. Do you blame top shareholder Ernest Lazarus? He owns 9% of the company. Now, Lazarus is a biblical figure known for being raised from the dead by Jesus, right?
Yeah.
The name represents resurrection, right? So I'm thinking that maybe he needed a sheriff in case all that digging up corpses from cemeteries went sour, right? Like, 'cause, I mean, that's a dirty business, like resurrecting people, and right. So, I mean, a Lazarus might need a law enforcement, might need a sheriff to keep it all on the level. That's what I'm thinking.
I will say that that's an interesting hot take. into how they got elected.
Do you blame Director Lone Manzi? Now, Lone. Getting a good loan.
This is all names.
Now, getting a good loan is all about putting out feelers, right? To different banks to see which is the right. So Loan needed a feeler to get shit done. So, okay, so you blame Loan for getting the feeler.
Loan also needs a sheriff in case someone doesn't pay back.
I didn't think of that. So you could, it's a double there. Okay,
do we both?
What about Director Vincent Abaticola? Now, forgive me, maybe I've watched too many episodes of The Sopranos, but Vinny used to be the chairman of the National Packaged Ice Association, and that sounds kind of scary, doesn't it?
Is that real? I don't remember that.
It's real. It's in the bio, in the proxy. And it's like put them on ice, Vinny. It's kind of right. It's kind of, I don't know. It sounds like waste management to me. And speaking of death, Vinny is also a director on the United Hospice Board. Again, it's like, who is this Vinny guy?
Who are these people?
And by the way, this is all true. This is all real. I'm not making up any of this.
That's the shocking part,
right?
Yeah.
And then speaking of God, he's also served on the St. Thomas Aquinas College President's Council, right? So,
and St. Thomas Aquinas was like a big deal, right?
Yeah, he was declared the doctor of the church. He had mystical experiences. So I don't know if it just, it's just all
feeler.
Feeler.
That's what you're going
it's
with.
Just all, Or finally, do you blame director, CEO, president, chair, former COO, former CFO, and top shareholder at 6%, Brian Coleman, who has been with the company since 1997, right? And somehow he's on the nomination committee.
Okay, can we just stop right there?
Right? I mean, that's just cheating. I mean, how is the CEO on the nomination committee? So, I mean, it must have been him who asked for sheriff and a feeler,
First of all, I don't know. Just as a testament to the level of research and data required to do this show, Lone Manzi and like sheriff and feeler and
look. To be honest,
these are all real.
If you want to know my thought process here with this horrible show, is that I giggle at the headline, right? Sheriff and feeler. But then I open the proxy. I got to make sure there's some kind of a narrative. If I can't put it together, I'm not going to do it. But it all fell into place for me on this one.
It's pretty impressive.
That Lazarus,
the National
Lone,
Packaged Ice Association,
and
packaged ice. It's like 1940.
The CEO's on the nomination committee. I mean, it's like, what the hell?
Unfortunately, there's only one answer. It's the director, CEO, president, chair, former COO, former CFO, and top shareholder.
All right, fine.
Brian Coleman.
Yeah,
as much as I want Lone Manzi to be the...
I was hoping you'd do Vinny. I just can't believe United Hospice Board and National Packaged Ice Association. That is so waste management. I mean, what is that? That might be one of your best pulls ever, though.
Hey,
but I'm letting the data and the research speak there. That's not me. That's all from the proxy statement.
I love all of that. That's all we got.
That's all we got.
That's the blame game. That's Hazelnut Ross.
I see people post on LinkedIn like one thing, like someone got a raise and they get like 55,000 kudos.
You spent probably 12 hours pulling the show together. We'll get 3 views, and that's it. Come back on Thursday. We're going to have to do a proxy countdown show. There's a show tomorrow, that's Shareholder Primacy, that's going to drop. Mike and Ann have their show tomorrow that's dropping. On Friday, we wrap up the week.
Oh, my God.
So much content. Until then, good. Bye.